Welcome back to the channel, Space Cadets. It's Leah, the Cosmic Armada Wolf Nara, back to bring you another ORDEAL Webtoon based video. And today we're going to be explaining Tomas. So if you like videos like this, if you want more ORDEAL videos, make sure you guys hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and also share the video to all your ORDEAL friends. But anyway, let's get started with the video. Tomas is regarded as Hebrew for son. Now, Tomas is actually introduced way earlier in the story than what we get in season 2. It's actually introduced back in season 1. It's alluded to. When Tevin wants to talk to Che, we get a future flash forward to the future in which we see this Bakum effect, and that Bakum effect is the effect that we see with Tomas whenever it's used. Now, we see Tomas again in the premiere of season 2 when Che is called Ronin at the time, in which he is trying to save these knwo students from being groped by these KCG soldiers, in which Che pretty much creates a sun in the palm of his hand and then flicks it towards the enemy, and it shows the same Bakum effect. So although we know that Che has the strongest body in the world for at least a knwo, because he's the former vessel of Thanatos himself. We see this said numerous times. However, now we have the aspect of Ilios himself only giving Che a small bit of his power as his body grows stronger. So we see when Che begins to train with the god tier Lord Bjorn himself. If you guys want me to make a Bjorn video, I can make a Bjorn video. It'll probably be like a video in between video, you feel me? But when he begins to train with Bjorn, we see that Bjorn breaks his body in order for him to use Ilios to restore his body. With this restoration process and his body becoming more durable, allow Ilios to release more flame or more of his power onto Che. So when Bjorn leaves Che, he tells Che that everyone needs a quote-unquote finishing move. So he leaves Che to begin to develop his finishing move, in which Che then begins to pour all of his chi or his flame into one point. Now, Bjorn then says that this is raw flame just covered by a layer of chi. It kind of reminds me of one of the royal blood tier, Levi, how he's able to produce infinite layers of chi to produce this wall of defense. It's going to show if you layer your ability or layer your talent with chi, you're actually able to mitigate some damage, or you're also able to compress your ability. When Che poured all his talent into this one portion, he used a layer of chi around his talent. And so Bjorn made note that 4 minutes isn't practical for a fight, and that he needs to have a move that's a lot quicker than pouring all of his flame into 1.44 minutes. And so we have this thing where I will call it a super Tomas. That's when he's pretty much pouring all his chi into that 1.44 minutes. And Bjorn makes note that it's possible that it's able to destroy a continent. And so Che then begins to add more chi layers on top of the already super huge Tomas in order to shrink it down. And this is represented by the strings of chi that when he's trying to climb his palms closer and closer together, and then it almost shrinks down instantly, just going to show the amount of layers that Che put onto Tomas to make it that small. Now, we also have Bjorn saying that Tomas has its own gravitational pull as well. We see when Bjorn walks up, he said that if they wasn't knwo, that they actually would have succumbed to the heat of Tomas itself, and that Tomas is actually pulling in other things because it has its own gravitational pull, which goes to show that the amount of flame that Che began to pour into this finite point is so much that it's able to off course the gravity immediately in the area, even just a little bit, which is kind of reminiscent to how Ryugatsugan kind of used a gravity-based ability with the black hole in a unique way. This is kind of similar to that. Now, we know that gravity, anything that has mass, has some sort of gravitational pull. Even humans have gravitational pull. It's just that our gravitational pull is just so minute compared to Earth's gravitational pull that we don't really notice it. But now, so when we take a look into how Tomas can be compressed to even more finite points, it's almost as if that Tomas is not losing its gravitational pull, and it's still affecting other people's gravitational field. We should call it, since everything has its own push and pull factor. It just depends on your mass. And so he shrinks in smaller, and he states to Bjorn that he wants to be able to make it the size of a golf ball, essentially being able to put so many layers of chi that he's able to make it easy to manipulate, rather than having this big giant sunball. Now, I think of moves like a big giant sunball, I think of David's Sling, how you have layers of chi wrapped around this sun, in which you sling it with the layers of chi. However, it's really hard to manipulate and easy to read. If you take into account that it affects other people's gravitational fields, then you can see that it's almost can be considered an unavoidable attack. If we look at how it's represented in a story back in chapter 34, we see Tevin using his rhino hide to pretty much defend against it. We see that Val, he slices it in half. So let's talk about the next phase, in which Che, yes, he's able to compress it into the form of a golf ball, but he also forms it in the palm of his hand. And so when he begins to fire off the Tomas, it's even smaller than when it's being formed in the palm of his hand. And so when he shoots it at K.O.D.E, actually had to activate Black Mass, almost going to show, yes, it's point blank, but because his own gravitational pull is affecting K.O.D.E's gravitational pull, unless he used teleportation to get away, then at that point, he would not only leave Val to be at a disadvantage, but he will also leave the Cubs to be able to go heal, which his only choice was to actually activate Black Mass to try to tank the hit, since he wasn't able to avoid it. We see Val is more skilled than Che. We see Bjorn states that Val hasn't even began to even show all of his abilities, and you're exhausting all of your efforts just to keep up with him and with his partial talent release state. With Tomas being formed in his palm, you see it start to pull like small particles towards it as it's being formed, or also you can say small gases are being released as well, since it is considered as a miniature sun. Now, when he flicks it or adjusts it to be in the middle of his middle finger, right before he flicks it, it grows even smaller, just going, so he compresses it even more. So you could even say if Che gets strong enough, he may be able to actually collapse a miniature sun to make a black hole, similar to what Ryugazugan did, and it'll also be kind of like a similar feat to how K.O.D.E holds Kevin pull two atoms apart to prevent a black hole from opening. So if he creates a black hole and that causes mass destruction, tell me what you guys kind of think of that theory. So now, in regards to what we see with Tomas, the more chi he uses to compress Tomas, the less damage it does, but the more accurate his shot is. So if you consider Tomas kind of like the spirit bomb, you have like the Super Tomas, which is the first showing, which is like the huge ball that you see him using. Then you have the compressed Tomas, which is like, think of the spirit bomb that Goku used against Vegeta. And then you have the ultra compressed, which is the one he shoots as a golf ball. And then you also have the one I'm going to just call Ronin Tomas, because the hue of the flame is a tad bit different than what we see with Che's Tomas in the past. So let me know what you guys think of this explanation of Tomas. Anyway, it's been your boy Wolfnar. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend again. Anyway, I'm out.